Welcome back to the channel, everybody. Today we are doing another EV charger. So come with me as we get this Kia van all powered up for a client in West Sussex. This is the new Kia that they've just got. Looks beautiful in black. However, at present it's costing them an arm and a leg to get it charged up elsewhere, which, as we know, it is so much cheaper to get it domestically fitted. So we're going to fit one on that wall. Come with me. Bye. See? Ow! Bit of girth on that bad boy. Oh, I've got a bit of coffee on my nose. Got about that much give. What could go wrong? First port of call, obviously, is a beautiful cup of coffee from this client. Love it. I'm currently in a heat wave here in the UK, but I'm underneath this little garage port, so feeling grateful today. Do you want to see the charger? We've got our CEF online order all sorted. Ordering online, next day delivery. Beautiful. Just a little shout out to CEF as well at Littlehampton, because the boys down there are getting sick of me doing these videos but not giving them a bit of credence. So Teddy, Rob, Nath, Gareth, you lads down there, thanks for the deliveries. But you weren't responsible for this. But that came on the old 24-hour next day, so very happy with this. Do you want to see what colour Hypervolt we're using today? Let me show you. Bye. So Hypervolt come in space grey, ultra white and ultra black. The black is the most common one we use. Is this what the client has requested on this one? What do you think? That's the colour of the wall. Tension's high. Are you ready? Oh yeah. It's a beautiful thing. Let's get this mounted. I'll show you what we're doing. And this is Joe, by the way, the client.
Look at how beautiful that is.
Joe very kindly has just delivered me another coffee, but he's a business owner like me, he needs a van. That's his Kia out there that he was just giving us a heads up on. But I love it when clients get involved and they don't mind the thing. We always obviously ask permission before we film in people's homes. Yeah, I just love the vibe when people like get involved with it, they think it's funny, and they can hear my voice in their house, which I have to ask permission for, because it must get well irritating. But anyway, he's involved, he doesn't mind being on YouTube, so if you see him, his name's Joe. What we're doing today is obviously getting this Hypervolt ready. When we come back, I just wanted to grab you really quickly on the EV situation with the van. You can see the Renault that we've got there. That is a few years old. I'm looking to upgrade to possibly the EV. If you've used a specific van for a smaller contracting business like ours, we don't deal with huge amounts of materials. We stay very local. Range isn't particularly an issue for me because we're not going to be going far. We kind of have orchestrated and designed the business, the family business, to stay very, very local. And just for family reasons, really, just to stay as close-knit. I don't want to do long hours. I don't want to be commuting a long way. It's just the way I've designed the business. So I don't need range, but I do need a decent van. So if you've got any recommendations and the reason why you have chosen that van when it comes to working and reliability, please let me know. Leave a comment below, and I just really appreciate it, because that's what the YouTube community is about, helping each other out. So I'm going to crack on with this. There's not really much else to report because you've seen what we do with other installs. So we're just going to do a quick unwrap of the box. We've got our Hypervolt unit here. Comes with its standard 5-meter lead, which is tethered. So there's no need to be going to your car to remove it. You don't need a lead in the back of the car mucking around. And this is the key that makes the install so good. I love everything about the Hypervolt, the software, the install, it looks mint, and I never get a call back. So as the contractor, what a winner. This is the back plate. That's going to go on the wall there. We're going to be drilling through the hole there so that we will have no visible cables on that wall. So all you'll see is that. Hopefully it's going to look very, very nice. We get a lot of questions, why the CT clamp? What a pain, it looks a bit messy, it's a bit of a faff. We need it because we need to check the load that is being dragged through from the grid onto that house. Every house has a limit of what it can use, but the EV charger is down the pecking order of what's needed. This CT clamp, if you're pulling a lot of electricity into your house, whether you've got the hot tub running, you've got various little things, especially in larger properties, this little thing will signal to the Hypervolt to pump the brakes, slow down, we'll charge you in a minute, we've got more priorities inside. So it's part of just the load balancing that's required so that the house, the charger, is not dragging so much off the grid into your property and causing other issues. So we always make sure we install this. You can go on there, the booklet that comes with for the client, really detailed, gives everything Even gives you a little, if you are a sparky looking for it, gives you kind of just the basic install stuff. Hand over to client, got the QR code to access the software. I do like a Hypervolt. Other ranges are available, they're a little bit prettier. Think about the Simpson & Partner, think about the Anderson chargers. Yes, they do look better, I concede that. But when it comes to the software and what you need it for, is it worth that extra bit of money? And they are quite a bit of extra money. If you've got the money, do it. If you haven't, Hypervolt it. Now we're going to have to do a bit of measuring and I'll show you why. Existing consumer is there, we have no surge protection on it, and I'd rather just put in a new EV charger so that it just stays separate from the existing install. We've got a bit of space, the client has cleared it for us, which is good. But that is basically why we're doing this, because we want to make sure that this is all nice and neat in here. We've got sole usage of the EV consumer unit, which is just going to protect the EV charger. We've got to be careful of cables coming down to this consumer unit, obviously, so we're mindful of that. I don't think there's any cables coming this way, but I do not want to see any cabling on the other side of that wall. All I want to see is the Hypervolt. So we'll get some measuring done and we'll see what we can do with the drilling. Right, so I need to get some measuring done to find out exactly where we're coming through here. I'm going to measure from the door, the front door, to roughly where we're going to go, that gap in between the consumer unit and the meter head, and I want to be finding that kind of little sweet spot here.
Why do you measure it like that, and why don't you just start on the inside and drill out?
The decision's made inside that cupboard, so that I've got to go through that gap. I can't go above the consumer unit because all your cables come down, but I'm just for YouTube going, if you needed to measure it, measure it. The client's just tapped in and said his brain doesn't work the same as a tradie's. Why am I measuring it? Well, I've got that little gap in between the meter head and the consumer unit, and I want to drill from the outside in so that we don't blow. In certain instances, you would have to kind of drill from the inside out, perhaps use a smaller drill bit so that you don't blow as much of the brickwork. But on this one, I'm just showing you guys that if you need to get a rough measurement, I've got about that much give. So as long as I'm around that area and I don't go above that consumer unit, I do not want to drill through there. All the meter head, the cable is visible, that goes down into the floor, the tails are just there, so I know where everything else is, but I want this to be as neat as possible on here. I do not want to blow the brick. But just for measuring purposes, if you measure from the front door, the threshold, then onto the brickwork, you'll get a rough gauge, well, even between a couple of centimetres difference of where you're coming through. And we're looking at 370 centimetres, or if you want to be really technical, 3700. 3700. We're there. Did I bring a pencil? I did. That's our marker. Is it time to get the drill out? I think it might be, with a cheeky 12mm bit. You know what? I'm not panicking. I just want to measure twice, drill once. I'm going to give it another measure. Bang on. What could go wrong? Feels tasty. What do you reckon? Should we go and see? Let's have a look. Look at that. Now that is not too bad on the measuring. Missed everything. Got a bit cheeky and a bit close to those meter tails, but we're through. We can enlarge that hole, make it bigger, ready for our EV Ultra cable, which has a good bit of girth on that bad boy. So we're going to chuck that through there. I might even make everything up when it comes to the consumer unit and the meter tails on this bench. Because when I've got a bench like this, and on a hot day like today, why on earth would I poke that cable through and do all my tail work in that small cupboard? I ain't doing it. There's no point. Think smarter, not work on it. I'm a little bit ecstatic with that. Let me see the daylight to that cupboard. I am proper happy with that. That's going to look mint. What I always do just to save getting the cable reeled out, but that's our little bit of EV Ultra. So you can see here, just like scoots through quite nice and easy, nice and snug. Don't want it too big, don't want it too small, obviously. On the inside, it doesn't really matter. I want to make it look neat. But as I just mentioned in the previous clip, there is no point in me breaking my back and getting too hot in there. Well, I want to put this Hypervolt, you can go down there. There's no point in me getting too hot and sweaty and aching in there if I can do it all here. EV Ultra, that can go over there for a second. But what we're going to do is get it all ready. I don't want to spend too long on here. I do not want to get caught in that cupboard because I've got footy tonight with the lads. And it's roasting hot. And I think it's 11s tonight. It's 11 aside. Don't want to use all my legs up getting stuck in that cupboard. 43, still playing football. Old and slow. But still love it. Addicted to it. So the question is, what sport do you do? If you're a tradie and you're out there watching, what are you doing to chill out? You're down the gym, you're swimming, squash. Love a game of squash. I haven't played that for years. Let me know in the comments. But besides that, let's just get cracking. I'll show you what we're doing. We've got our EV consuming it here. This one's from Fusebox, pretty decent make. Again, not a paid promotion. Just wanted to give them a shout out for a decent. Ah! I'm going to whack this on a quick time lapse, getting this all prepped. I'll show you what it looks like at the end and run you through why we've done what we've done, why I've done it. And it's quite easy really, but I don't want to bore you, and it's nicer for you to listen to a few tunes, a little bit of music, and watch me work really quick. As I mentioned, I wanted to get all this sorted so I don't have to do it underneath the stairs and get it all prepped. So we've got our live and neutral, our 25mm tails that are going into the top of our main 100 amp switch. We've obviously got our SPD, which is standard and required on all EV installs. And with the EV cable that we've got here, the EV Ultra, we've got our pair that's needed there, which is just our our brown and white. So that's all ready to go. It just means that I can just pop that into under the stairs, get my 3 holes drilled, get that mounted, and I don't have to be stripping underneath the stairwell, which is nice and easy. This cable will then get poked through the hole that I've already made in the wall, which you saw earlier, and that is that. And I do hope that explains why we do what we do with things like this, because we want to make our life as easy as possible. There is no point making a job harder than it needs to be. So when we can do any kind of work off situ, not even off site, away from the location on site that you need to do it, if you can get it done on a workbench and save the body and save aching, do it. If you've come up with any other tips that you use just to make life a little bit easier, whether it's the factory kind of technique when you're doing commercial work, I'd love to know what kind of stuff you use in your company or for yourself at home where you can work methodically, which increases the efficiency of the way you work. Let's get this mounted underneath that cupboard. Do you think I've got enough? Doesn't matter, that's looking gorgeous. I'll show you inside. Quite tight in here, as you can see. It is warm. We've hit 32 degrees outside, but weirdly, it's hotter in here than it is out there. Yeah, happy. So we're secure on there. We've got our pair here. Everything is wired up. That's why I wanted to do it here. So that's just a case of just mounting it. I can sort the tails out. Can't do that off over on the workbench outside. We've got a nice little sweep on that. I'm going to put some filler around there, and I'm really happy with how that's ended up. It's going to look nice. Just need to do my CT, but I'll leave that for our final connection, so leave those out. I need to chop that. Look at the length on that, so I'm just going to get rid of some of this. The final connections will be that. The final connections will be onto the meter, so we're going to do that. I'll do that in a bit. Always do your final connections last. So we're going to get this all sorted. I'm going to get the bracket on there, get this stripped, then I'll come back to you. So we just need to put our screw in the top of there. That'll hold that on. In this little packet with the Hypervolt, you don't want to lose this. That is what you will use for your CT, so don't lose that. That's why I still maintain this is one of the most solid units you'll be able to buy on the market. Don't like your little bit of plastic, looks a bit unneat. So this is where we come to our Hypervolt connections. We have got our earth, neutral and live here. It's just going to go there. We'll chop those up, get those secured into there. And also we've got our data. So we're going to strip that back. That's going to be using, if you remember, our brown and white, or white and brown, sorry. And so those are the 2 cores we're going to be using. The rest will coil up. I'm going to get some sealant around here, because that is the only moment I've made a hole in this unit. This is a roof over it, this is a carport, so we know there's not going to be any rain coming in it, but to stop little spideys and bugs and things are going to crawl over this PCB. Just want to make sure that's nice and neat and nice and sealed. I'll catch you guys in a bit. That just looks beautiful. I really want to know, with all our installs, how would you do it? Am I doing anything that you look at and you go, Tom, there's a tool that will make that faster. Why are you doing it that way? Why don't you do it this way? I like what you did there, because if you've got any positives out of it, can you let me know? It does help with the old self-esteem and self-worth if I'm doing a half decent job. But if you can think of anything that I need to purchase that makes these jobs easier, let me know in the comments below. If you've got any questions as to why I do what I do that way, let me know as well. But the more important thing is, if you live in West Sussex, I live around Chichester area near the coast, and you need an EV charger or electrical work, tap in with us via the comments below, or have a look for us on our website or on our social media accounts on Instagram and Facebook and TikTok. In fact, that'd be really good of you. Obviously, I'm going to put a badge up here to say like, comment, share, subscribe, all that stuff. I really want you to do that on YouTube, but also just type us in on Insta. Our links are on the description as well, so just check us out, give us a tag, and you might see a bit more short form content on there if you get a bit bored with watching me for like 10-20 minutes, which I can understand. Just to let you know, this is our little CT plug that comes with the packet. We've used our brown and also our white brown. That just plugs onto the PCB there. That's going to monitor and make sure that our EV charger doesn't overload the supply to the home. And we've got earth, neutral and live that I've done here, along with the ferrules and everything that's all on there. Nice and neat, all torqued up, all ready to go. I just need to obviously change the dial on here. We've got an 80 amp incomer on here, so that means we just need to switch around the little dial in the corner there. I think it's onto a 6 or 7, but it's all explained in the instruction manual what you need to do with that. So it just enables the CT to work properly and make sure that nothing affects anything else in the home really. So that's that wiring done. I can put the lid on that, we can test later, but now it's time to get this on and have a look at the inside. Right, so this shows again why we're a real life install. I can't show you, I can't squeeze into that cupboard, work safely with the camera running and everything else in this heat. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get all that done, get it done safely, get it done, and then I'll show you what it looks like at the end and explain what we've done. All we're doing is we're tapping into the existing supply that comes in safely. We're going to make sure everything's isolated, double check everything before we work on meter tails. And you should not be doing that work, any work to do with electricity, really, and especially at the mains, if you're not a qualified and insured electrician that is certified with a governing body. That's my rant over and done with. But I want to work safely. I can't take you in there, but I will show you afterwards. It is absolutely roasting. We've just hit 34 down on the south coast of England. I'll be whinging about this in the winter, but I'll catch you guys in a bit. Before anyone notices, yeah, the headband's gone in. I know I'm too old for it. Leave the comments out or leave the comments in. It's got to be done. It is too hot today, so my hair was just a mop. I just want to show you exactly what we've done. So we've just sorted out our tails here with the blocks here, the new terminal blocks that I always use. These are from Proteus. Highly recommend them. We didn't need to use an earth one because we've got our earth one already there. So I fed that down from here. We've got our live and neutral that come in that feed underneath here. Then we obviously feed to our consumer unit. We're splitting off to our existing one that we have done had nothing to do with. This is all done and tested. I've tested as well at the consumer unit because I want to make sure obviously that we've got decent connections here, which is all good. So this is our CT clamp. It just clips around the live that comes out of our meter here that feeds everything else. You can see on it's got a little arrow that points down. It has to go down and away from the supply, heading towards our consumer unit and our tails. And the connection that I've done is just using some Wagos in here. So the two cores, in simple terms, the two cores that we've used off our EV Ultra cable that go in here. So on this one, I've used the black to brown on one, and I've used the white to the white and brown of the other one. So we've got two that are going to sit in that small little EV consumer unit and done. If you had any questions on doing the CTs, which at the very start, when you start doing EVs, seems a bit of a big deal, but once you do them and you get used to them, they're a piece of cake. It's been a hot day today. but I'm really happy with it. We're going to chuck this on. Little fly lead that goes on the back of here. Just clicks on there like so. Done our final testing as well. And we'll probably speed this up, just do Allen key each one, nice and neatly. That's all done. And then it comes to, and that's our front. You've got your 4 screws, they actually give you a spare Hypervolt. Thank you, Hypervolt. Even with this, the build quality, just the threads on the screws. With cheaper makes, the smallest detail, I don't know if you find it with installs, that when you have a decent company that make decent gear, the little details they have, the retaining screws on the case underneath here, these screws, the thread never crosses, it never gets stuck. It's just beautiful. And I need to reiterate this. This is not a paid promotion by Hypervolt. This is just my kind of view of things. That is stunning. I'm really happy with that. Gonna give ourselves a nice little wrap. Done. And that is our Hypervolt Home Pro in ultra white fitted. Thank you so much for watching today. If you've got any questions about it, any comments on it, particularly questions we've raised today about the different chargers we've got, if you can help me out with that EV van, if we're thinking of like an electric van, just give me your shouts on that. But other than that, thank you so much for watching. Love the support you're sending our way, and keep on subscribing, keep on commenting. Have a great day, everyone.